Seriously? Seriously, children? What?
Okay, I am going to go ahead and mute everybody just for the sake of background noise. All right, so I hope that you've been breathing. Let's take a moment together to let go of whatever has happened, has been going on this week. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, maybe try to release tension in your body wherever it may be.
She moved it, yeah.
And feel the space around you transform into holy space, holy time. This week, I sent out a new PDF with a refreshed prayer book. It's still completely drawn from Mishkan Tefillah. So if you have Mishkan Tefillah, if you have a prayer book, then that still will have everything in it. But we've been using the same blessings pretty much for a year, and I thought it was time to mix it up a little bit. And so we begin. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. For the candle blessing, I'd like to invite Linda Kushner-Silverman to unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
As these Shabbat should I light it first?
You can read the little reading and then light and then bless.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give all who behold us. As their brightness remind us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedeshanu b'tzvotav v'tzavanu l'hadlik ner nel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who houses us with, oh God, I did it again. You see what I did? Who houses us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
No, I don't.
My own breath blew out the light.
Ah, okay.
Did it the last time too.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Linda. It's all right. We are continuing now to the Kiddush, and to read the Kiddush in English, I'd like to invite Jonathan Schachter.
Hi, everyone. I think the breath is life, right? So you just breathe life onto the candles.
There you go.
Thank you.
Oh, and this is from my days back when I first met the rabbi, and when my older boy was about 3. This is the wine that we use. This is white grape juice from Welch's. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who finding favor with us sanctified us with mitzvot. In love and favor, you made the Holy Shabbat our heritage as a reminder of the work of creation. As first among our sacred days, it recalls the exodus from Egypt. You chose us and set us apart from the peoples. In love and favor, you have given us your Holy Shabbat as an inheritance. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Do you want me to say B'rei Pri Hagafen, or somebody else says that?
You can do it.
Okay. Baruch atah Adonai. Sorry, the cat. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai. This is Mekadesh HaShabbat. Baruch atah Adonai B'rei Pri Hagafen.
I mean,
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu. Shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon inkilanu. Zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom tehillah l'mitra'e kodesh zeicher l'tziat Mitzrayim ki vanu v'chata v'otanu kiddashta mikol ha'amin v'shabbat kodshecha v'ahava v'ratzon hinachaltanu baruch atah Adonai mikadesh hashabbat. Amen.
we continue now with Lecha Dodi, and we imagine the Shabbat as a bride bringing joy and beauty to our Shabbat day.
Lecha Dodi likra kala b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, yishmi'anu el hamiyuchad. Adonai echad, Shemo echad, l'shem l'tiferet v'li tehillah. Lecha Dodi likra kala b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Likrat Shabbat nechu v'nelcha, ki mekor habracha. Mirosh mikedem esucha, sof maaseh b'machshava tehillah. Lecha Dodi likra kala b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, ki vorekumi ori. Uri, uri, shir daberi, kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha Dodi likra kala b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, gam b'simcha u'b'tzola, toch imonei am segula. Boi chala, lecha Dodi likra kala b'nei Shabbat nikabela.
We come to the Baruch Hu, the call to worship. If you have a prayer book, it's on page 146. I invite you, if you're able, to rise.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
I invite you, if you choose to read with me, page 148, if you have a prayer book. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tsevaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, B'shochbeinu v'komeinu, Nasiach b'chukecha, ונזמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי חיים חיינו באורך ימינו, ובהם נגי יומם ולילה.
Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. We continue with the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuta, Leolam Vaed.
Let's be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וגשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לי תותפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Amendments. I invite you to read with me, page 157, if you have a prayer book. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. You have to unmute, Noni.
מי כמוך באילם אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף יוסף אלה, מלכותך ראובנך, בוקע יום לפני משה מרים, זיליאנו ואמרו, זיליאנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. If you have a prayer book, page 161. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us your shelter of peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, דורותם ברית עולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש.
We have come to the tefillah, which begins in the prayer book on page 164. I invite you, if you're able, to rise.
Adonai sefatai tiftach, ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohi avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohi Avraham, Elohi Yitzchak, Elohi Yaakov, Elohi Sarah, Elohi Rivka, Elohi Rachel, Elohi Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanara, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'mivii Geula livnei v'neihem, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר, משיח ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם, בעזרת שרה, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, לחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מקלקל חיים בחסד, לחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו משני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידה מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, נאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך הקדוש, הקדושים בכל יום יהללוך הסלע, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Amen. Let's be seated. I invite you to read with me page 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. We have come to Modim, our prayer of gratitude, and I would like to invite you now, if there's anything that you're feeling grateful for today, you could put it into the chat, or you could also unmute yourself and say it to us out loud. So I see Linda Horowitz is unmuted.
So good Shabbos, everybody. I am very grateful for a good week, good family, good friends, and especially a very good health report.
Good.
Wonderful. Modim anachnu lach. Robin.
Well, first, I'm grateful to be back with you guys. It's been quite a while. I'm also very grateful that I have had my first shot and I'm getting my second one on Monday. So I'm excited about that. And I have a buyer for my cottage at a price that I never thought I was going to get, because so many people are leaving the city still that somebody from Brooklyn wants to buy my cottage. And so I'm very excited about that. Things are moving forward, and it's a good feeling.
Wow. All right. Modim anachnu lach. So much to be grateful for. Diane Schenker.
I am so grateful for good and caring friends and family, and including my rabbi.
I thank you as well. Modim anachnu lach, for good and caring friends and family. Linda Kushner-Silverman.
I'm very grateful. I went to 2 doctors and they gave me clearance for my surgery. So, yep.
That's great news.
Yes.
Great news. Modim anachnu lach. Gail and Bob. Unmute, please.
We are grateful that for the first time we've had our second shots, and our close friends had their second shots. So for the first time, we're getting together to share a meal and a movie on Netflix tomorrow night.
Wow. Great. Modim anachnu lach. from the chat, Eslin is thankful for the peace and quiet on Shabbat that eludes her during the week. Karen Kramer is grateful for beautiful, uplifting Shabbat services. Modim enachnu lach. Alan Zarrow is grateful for a first shot and a written confirmation for a second appointment. So hope that comes through for you, Alan. Gail and Bob are grateful for the development and approval of a third vaccine, the Johnson & Johnson one, I think. And fervent with the wish that soon we will be able to be together and hug again. Roseanne Levitt is grateful for a lively Zoom birthday party and a first vaccine shot. Leah Sofian, welcome, Leah. Is that you, Leah, or is it? Oh, it's Gerard. No,
No, it's
Leah.
me too. I'm here.
It is you. It is you. I'm sorry. Yes. Yay. It's nice to have you back. Grateful to be at services and for family and community. Yay. Jonathan Schachter is grateful for approval from the Department of Buildings and being one step closer to moving to Ditmas Park. Excellent. Let's see. Is anybody else unmuted? I don't see. Anybody else have anything? Charlotte.
I'm just happy that I'm here tonight with all.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was my fault. You have to unmute again, Charlotte. That was my bad. Charlotte, please unmute again. I'm sorry. That was my fault.
Oh, okay. I'm just grateful to be here tonight, surrounded by Temple family. It feels so good.
I'm so grateful that you're here too. Elaine Sarfati.
I feel the same as Charlotte. It feels so good to be part of Temple, and that my sister and brother-in-law are progressing health-wise.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
Good to hear.
Modim enachnu lach. Deanna.
I'm grateful to Pam Glansman for just giving me the opportunity to see our past cantorial intern.
Oh,
who
great.
we haven't seen in many years.
Great. Modim enachnu lach. Okay, is that everybody? Linda, do you have another one? No. Okay, great.
Before I sing, I'll be grateful for the fact that I spent a few days with my children, my millennials, Aaron and Emily, and it's just so beautiful to see how well they get along. They are really very wonderful.
Oh, that's wonderful. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'el lehodot. And we continue with our prayer for peace.
Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amecha, Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amecha, Tasim leolam Shalom Rav, ki ata ומלך אדון, מלך אדון לכל השלום, כי אתה ומלך אדון, מלך אדון לכל השלום, שלום רב, שלום רב, שלום רב על ישראל עמך, שלום רב, שלום רב, על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם, שלום רב.
Baruch atah Adonai hamivarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. We now continue quietly. If you have a prayer book, there are words on pages 180 and 181. There are words on the screen if you can see those. But of course, we can always use the words that are in our own hearts. We continue quietly.
May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, be acceptable to you. Lord, my rock and my redeemer, Lord, my rock and redeemer. Amen.
We turn our thoughts now to those among us and those in our hearts who are ill and who are in need of healing of body, of mind, or of spirit. If you have names of people that you are praying for healing for that you did not send into the office, if you'd like to add those in the chat, you can do so now. And I will also give you an opportunity to say names aloud if you prefer. We hold in our thoughts and in our hearts for healing today Jesse Sakharov, Ira Weiss, Elaine Drucker, Sherry Burns, Allison Plummer, Patty Ann Cubero, Ellen Belofsky, Meg Goldate, Mady Rosenbaum, Susan Sisler, Alan Fremer, Susan Bilecki, Dana Haitkin Nelson, Arlene Rosenthal, Michael Luck, Barbara Weiner, Andy Glansman, Julie Falkowski, Amy Juskowitz Soonseller, Ira and Deanna Roth, Roz Borenstein, Irv Weiner, Eddie DeAngelis, Ira Goldman, Vicky Lightnaker, Sarah Brooks Kamen, Nettie Trommer, Mia Gannon, Richie Stein, Jeff Abel, Harold Gleiberman, Suzanne Leknos, Florence Schoen, Jules Feldman, Esther Batlusi, Roz Zuckerman, Paul Kastick, Lester Schenker, Katie Schenker, Dr. Jack Egnatinsky, Roberta Hayrath, Marilyn Birnbaum, Robin and Neil Parr, Roz Solomon, Joan Lifshitz, Stacy, David and Wilma Mauser, Hannah Paines, Christina Leknos, Patricia Matthews, Ellen Hoyt, Brian Wilco, Margot Zittin, Stuart Armstrong, Della Cohen, Maxine Breland, Iris Merlis, Regina Stein, Linda Feller, Monica Attias, Steph Attias, Michelle Nusimovici, Kimberly Davy and Braden Finnegan, Claire Cyber, Linda Kushner Silverman.
Max Brax Major.
Thank you. Kay Banani, Judith Kors, Della Cohen, Jill Gluckson, Robin's daughter, Jill Gluckson and Robin's daughter, Doreen Williams, Joanna Marie, Teresa O'Sullivan, Louisa Espute, Christian Chin Loy, Tatiana Perry, De La Touche, Michael Moore, Nancy Connor, Dave Stanger, Bobby and Dan Baumgarten, David and Marilyn Bader, Pat Martin, Amy Bona Cohen, Sam Sarfati, Jackson and Tara Kushner, Shelley Samet, David Gershon, Levina and Stanley Tenon, Ronnie Katlowitz, Stephen Doppelt, Marlene Unterberger, Freya Kashmir, Delphine Wolf, Perry and Rita Kravit, Glenda and Marshall Greenman, Jeannie Greenberg, Elliot Woofsey, Suzanne Mishler Hernandez, Joan Lifshutz, Clinton Lewis, Leah Hazley. Does anyone have any other names to add? Alan?
My friend Mike Fogelman, who lost his wife last week, to the family of Donald Douglas, to all members of the NYPD, and in particular, Police Officer Marco Dutan.
Thank you, Alan. Anyone else?
Baby Sophia Carlson.
Thank you, Deanna. Anybody else have any names to add? Okay, we also include all of those who are suffering from COVID-19 or from the measures that we've taken to slow the spread of the virus. We include those who have been wounded in service to our country or Israel, and those who have been hurt in other recent disasters, whether natural or human created. If you have a prayer book, Misha Berach is on page 371 in the middle of the page.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mikor habracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishe berach imotenu mikor habracha lamotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. When I was a toddler in the early 1970s, my father was the pastor of a small country church in Pennsylvania. And if you don't understand how it works, that I'm a rabbi and my dad's a pastor, you can check in with me at another time and I'll explain the whole thing to you. But it was 1972, and Idi Amin, the dictator of Uganda, expelled all the ethnic Indians who were living in Uganda at the time. Those who had British passports, because India was a part of the British Empire, were able to go to England or to other countries controlled by Great Britain. About 23,000, though, didn't have a passport for any country outside Uganda, and they became stateless. My dad's little church took responsibility for 4 of those refugees. One of them is named Manilal Popat. He had a little son about my age who, with Manilal's wife Jyoti, was able to go to England because she had been born in India and had a British passport. He missed his son, and he played with me while he waited for them to be allowed to come to the US. And after a while, they did join him. For a while, everything they had was donated by members of the church because they lost everything when they were expelled from Uganda. Jyoti didn't speak English when she arrived in the US. And my mother used to tell a story that shortly after she arrived, Manilal, her husband, became very ill. Jyoti called my parents, and using words she'd learned from watching TV, she managed to communicate that they needed medical help. Manilal and Jyoti became lifelong friends of our family. They became American citizens, and they were able to work and thrive, as did their 2 sons. And this is just one story of many, many refugee experiences. Our world has seen refugees since ancient times. War, economic distress, persecution, and expulsion are all forces that force people to run away, to leave all that they have, to depend on the mercy of people in another place, to take them in and give them enough to help them start over. In our cycle of Torah portions, we're reading the book of Exodus, and the name of the book itself, Exodus, refers to the going out of the Israelites from Egypt, out of slavery. They left so much behind and ran away in order to be free. And in fact, they were refugees, people looking for refuge, for a place where they could be free and safe. Within this refugee people, however, there was a subgroup of refugees of a different kind. The Torah refers to them as the mixed multitude, the Erev Rav. These were Egyptians and other non-Israelites who joined the Israelites in leaving Egypt and lived among them. It's generally understood that when the Torah speaks of the stranger living among you, especially early on in the book of Exodus, this includes the members of the mixed multitude. Over and over again, the Torah refers to the non-Israelites living among the Israelites, teaching, "You shall not mistreat a stranger, and you shall not oppress them, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt." In the book of Leviticus, we read, "Like a native from among you shall the stranger who sojourns with you be for you, and you shall show love to them as to yourself, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt." The mixed multitude is made up of these people who are different than the Israelites and who are called the stranger. Those are just a couple of examples of the many places our Torah tells us that we're obligated to care for the stranger in our midst. Among refugees, fear and a sense of instability are common, which makes sense, right? They have usually experienced trauma, and starting over in an unfamiliar place is itself traumatic. At least the Israelites were not thrown into the midst of a new society. They had to create their own society from scratch, but they were all in that together. And it seems that the Israelites, understandably, latched onto Moses for a sense of security. After all, he is the one who led them out of Egypt, and he's their conduit to God, who saved them and who brought them out, the God who saved them, and the God who brought them out of Egypt. And that God is also terrifying. So Moses is their conduit to that God. In this week's Torah portion, Ki Tisa, we find out that Moses has been up on Mount Sinai for many days. And the people saw him go up into the fire on this mountain, and he hasn't returned. They turn on Aaron, who was left in charge, and they demand a new leader, someone to give them that sense of security they got from Moses, someone to lead them through the wilderness. Aaron takes their jewelry and creates the golden calf, which was not a good choice. God is ready to destroy them for this and start over again with Moses. But Moses steps into the breach, which is one of the jobs of a prophet, and talks God out of it. Then when Moses goes down the mountain with the tablets of the law that God wrote on with God's own finger, he's enraged when he sees what the Israelites are doing. He smashes the tablets and orders the Levites, who apparently remained loyal to God, to slaughter those who worship the calf. And also there is a plague. One of the things that often happens when something goes terribly wrong, as it does for the Israelites in Ki Tisa, is that people try to shift blame. In the text, Moses confronts Aaron, who actually made the idol, and Aaron shifts the blame right onto the people. Much later, in the 11th century CE, our great sage Rashi shares a commentary that shifts the blame in another way. In the text, when God tells Moses what the people are up to, God says, "Hurry down from Mount Sinai, for your people, whom you brought out of the land of Egypt, have acted basely." Now, to me, this sounds like the way parents sometimes talk to each other about one of their kids who has been misbehaving, and they say something like, Wait until I tell you what your child did today. When, of course, they're both the parents of the child, right? But like, yeah, your kid. But Rashi reads it differently than that. Rashi comments that the phrase your people, he comments on that phrase and he says, it does not say the people, but your people. And that refers to the mixed multitude whom you accepted on your own without consulting me, thinking that they would be better off adhering to the Shekhinah being the presence of God. They have acted basely and caused the others to act basely. So there's nothing in the text that indicates that the mixed multitude were the ringleaders here. But Rashi's interpretation turns on the least powerful, the strangers, the double refugees, the refugees within a society of refugees, and blames them. How easy this is to do. We see it in our own society at times when immigrants, often refugees, are blamed for taking jobs or for bringing diseases or for crime. In Jewish history, when Jews have often been seen as other, as different, as strangers, they have been blamed for plague or for poverty or for crime. And in the worst cases, this blame leads to violence. This Shabbat is Hayas Refugee Shabbat. Hayas, as an organization, initially founded to help Jewish refugees and who has helped resettle people in our own community, now assists refugees all over the world, whoever they may be. On this Shabbat, we pay particular attention to the plight of refugees, of strangers, some of whom are in our midst and some of whom are struggling to survive elsewhere in the world. Let us recognize that when the Torah tells us to be kind to the stranger, to care for the stranger, to not harm the stranger, this includes those who are refugees, Jewish or not. Let us offer help and not blame. Let us take responsibility for our own failings as a society rather than turning on those who are trying to build a new life. May we do God's work in caring for the strangers we see who are in need, whoever they may be. Amen and Shabbat Shalom.
The melody of tonight's anthem, to a poem by Emma Lazarus, was composed by a Russian immigrant who arrived in New York Harbor at the age of 5 with 7 brothers and sisters. He and his family were poor refugees from a shtetl in Russia. Their house had been burned down and they had fled to America. The father had been a cantor at the village synagogue, but in New York, the only job he could find was at a kosher meat shop. That's what he did to support his family until he died, by which time the boy who would one day set the Lazarus poem to music was 13. That boy did not grow up to become a burden on American society. He went on to write White Christmas, Alexander's Ragtime Band, and our closing song tonight, God Bless America. His name was Irving Berlin. Like poor immigrants before and after him, he contributed to America's idea of itself and to America's ideal of itself. Immigrants made America. Immigrants make America. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuge for the golden dawn. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless tempest tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door.
We turn now to the Aleinu as we look toward the day when all the world shall be one. If you have a prayer book, it begins on page 586, and I invite you, if you're able, to rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולו ליוצא בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגבהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Let's be seated. We turn our thoughts now to those who are no longer with us, our loved ones who have died in the past days or weeks or months, or in past years at this time of the year. I have put our yahrzeit list on the screen, and I invite you, if there's anyone for whom you are saying the mourner's Kaddish, whose name you did not send to the office, you're welcome to put those names in the chat now, and I'll also give you an opportunity to add names at the end. We remember those who have died in the past year. Bob Perlman, Ira Berkowitz, Bayumi Mohammed, Amy Zisovic, Mary Holland, Dorothy Webster, Robert Allen Santos Sr., Robert Bonenfant, Barry Strumpf, Judy Epstein, Dorothy Mason, Judy Panzer, Barry Ween, Charlotte Brown, David Schachter, Douglas Maines, Devorah Lewis, Tria Sapir, Jane Evans, Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs, Manny Pastor, Ruth Rubin, Harris Reese, Emerson Berger, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Carolyn McNamara, Marion McGivney, Ronnie Turek, Michaela Schaefer, Helen Zegerman Schwimmer, Ido Sheffy, Elaine Gordet, Dr. Stephen Kamholtz, Carol Gross, Carol Andre, Robert Serpico, Jeanette Riley, Melvin Barish, William Lamp, Ina Sandals, Martin Shankin, Solomon Tettelbaum, Howard Jankelowitz, Sean Singer, Jeff Harris, Sammy Berger, Rabbi Kenneth Roseman, Chaim Braunzweig, Harry Baylor, Benjamin W. Schaefer, Shirley Hyatt Tobias, Myron Klein, Ted Tobias, Rita Belay, Jay Jankelowitz, Sandy Gannon Abel, David Ribbler, Tony Cambio, Portia Armbruster. On our yahrzeit list this week are Lillian Hollander, Stan Hollander's mother, Marcia Miller, Freema Schneier's sister, Anthony Olasov, David Olasov's cousin, Frank Platt, Eric Platt's uncle, Meyer Reich, Dorothy Goldberg's father, Menachem Leib Tilchen, Milton Platt's grandfather. We include also Hannah Schachter, Leatrice Langer, Inga Probetsky, Kevin McCarthy, Theodora Campbell, Dalbert Harrison, Thelma and Gideon Matthews. Is there anyone else with names to add? Alan?
My stepfather, Martin Ehrlichman, and 3 weeks ago, the executive director of the PSAL, Mr. Donald Douglas, retired, and last Friday he passed away.
Oh. Eric?
Frank Platt is my father.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I have
It's okay.
about that.
It's okay.
Does anyone else have any other names to add? We also include all of those who have died from COVID-19 around the world, and those who have died from other causes, whether in war, famine, terror, disaster, as refugees trying to get to a safe place, or alone and homeless on the streets of our cities. If you have a prayer book, the Mourner's Kaddish is on page 598. I invite you to rise if you're able and join in, or to participate according to your own custom. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mivorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yit hadar, v'yit aleh, v'yit halal, shemei dekudisha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'yimru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, huya aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and comfort to the bereaved wherever they may be. And let us say, amen. Let's be seated.
Oseh shalom bimromav, huya aseh shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Before we conclude, I would like to invite our president, Eric Platt, to give us announcements.
Did I have to go up on the beam? Wait 1 second. There I am.
Welcome to
Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
So tomorrow we continue Shabbat with Biyakad at 9:45 with Rabbi Hoover, followed by services at 11 o'clock. And there's also religious school at 9:45 tomorrow morning. Then tomorrow at 2 p.m., Artsa is presenting a virtual tour of Haifa, which is a very diverse city where Jews, Arabs, Muslims, and Christians all live together side by side, and they get along fairly well. It's a truly diverse community, and if you can, I recommend that you attend. I was coming in the door. And if you were on the last virtual tour, it's being done by the same person, and I know she was very engaging, so I urge you to attend. Then on Sunday, Rabbi Hoover will be at 4 p.m. Rabbi Hoover will be doing a Passover during a plague and tricks for a doable and meaningful Seder. So if you haven't registered already, please do so. Then Tuesday, of course, March 9th, Rabbi Pinsky will be leading Torah study as usual at 1 o'clock. And at 7:30 p.m., the Women of Beshert, a sisterhood organization, they'll be having Jan Hutner speak about Francis Butwin, who was a Yiddish translator and the unacknowledged genius behind Fiddler on the Roof. And then on Thursday, because we're not busy enough all week, March 11th at 7:45, Rabbi Hoover and Sam Levine of East Midwood Jewish Center will be beginning a series of lectures or sessions called We Are What We Remember, and that's a Melton School course. And I think Rabbi Hoover can speak a little more about that after I finish. And then next Saturday, March 13th, we will be doing Seder songs. We will be having a Seder songs sing-along led by Rabbi Pinsky, beginning with Havdalah at 7 p.m. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Yes, on Thursday, we are going to start this 4-session class. It's going to be from 7:45 to 9 p.m. for 4 weeks. This is a joint project of Beshert and East Midwood Jewish Center and the Flatbush Jewish Center. Rabbi Sam Levine and I are going to be co-teaching. And this is funded by a very generous grant from UJA Federation, which means that every participant for all 4 classes pays just $36, which is really an amazing deal. The course is called We Are What We Remember, and the 4 sessions are going to go into how memory works in the Sephardic world of Jewry and Poland and Israel. And I don't remember right now what the fourth week is. I mean, what the first week is. But anyway, it's going to be, I think, really excellent. So I hope that you join. the link to register I sent out yesterday. So that's in that link's email, and I think the flyer went out separately as well. So that's happening. We are going to close. Noni, do you want to talk about this?
Well, I already did.
Oh, okay. So we're going to close with God Bless America.
God Bless America, also the genius of Irving Berlin. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha Shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine on you and be gracious to you. May God lift God's face toward you and give you peace. Amen.